Hello once again, everyone. Thanks for tuning into another edition of AIW's The Card is Going to Change. Before we get into this week's episode, of course, we always try to give a shout out to those who, well, lately it's just those who have helped out AIW in any sort of way, alongside those who help bring the show to you for free. Whenever we decide to drop it is pretty much how this has gone. Although we're on a streak, we're on a tear right now, so good for us. We'll see if we can keep that going. Thanks to Thrift Store Jobber, thanks to Pollyanna DIY, thanks to Sean Jaundice at Voodoo Monkey Tattoo. I'm trying to think. Thanks to Brock and Smokin' Jay's Barbecue. Thanks to the merger between IWTV and Smart Mark Video. Of course, with that merger, watching AIW has never been easier. If you want to purchase AIW on DVD or own the digital version of it, you can go to smartmarkvideo.com. They've got every single AIW show that's ever been recorded in their archives. I should say been recorded and available for purchase. And then, of course, go to IWTV.
Yeah, because there's a couple that aren't never saw the light of day. There's a few.
Oh, the best of the passion is not there, folks.
It's not coming. There's a couple actual shows though that never were released. No idea what happened to the footage.
There you go.
One of those things.
Go to independentwrestling.tv, sign up for IWTV, and of course use the code ABSOLUTE so they know that you heard about them through AIW. And you've got AIW plus all sorts of other independent wrestling promotions, so many countless hours of shows and content available to you for just $9.99 a month. It's absolutely ridiculous how much independent wrestling you can actually watch through IWTV. I got the hiccups there, John Thorne.
Hiccups? Do I got to scare you?
So, this week's episode, I think it's just going to be 40 minutes of shout-outs, John Thorne, if that's okay with you.
You have a lot of shout-outs? Shout me out.
A lot of shout-outs.
Shout me out.
Shout out to AIW owner John Thorne. Hey, he's the man who makes this podcast happen. He edits this thing every week whenever we record it. And, this is the guy keeping it afloat right now. My name is Steve Guy, your moderator of sorts. Shout out, here's a shout out. Shout out to the guys who stuck by Go for Broke each and every week and took the time to talk about every single episode and the tournament. I'm talking about the guys that were on Wrestling Cheers, Justin Summers, Charlie Butters, and Jay Gold. Our guy there. They were that's the shout out right there, man. They watched every single episode, gave a breakdown, kept all of you interested. It kept us interested too, even though we were the ones working on it. They did a great job, a tremendous job of that, and we appreciate the dedication and support that those guys did for the last 4 months. I guess it's been since we initially launched AIW's Go for Broke.
Time's a flat circle, man. Everything runs together. I can't believe it's already August.
I know.
It's I don't know. Summer has flown by, it seems. It's just craziness, It's been nonstop.
You ready for a vacation?
Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We're gonna see. I think. I really think the next 6 months are really gonna tell. The tale of independent wrestling. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Which way, how the chips are all gonna fall. I think. In the next 6 months, we're gonna see. How things are gonna go. I know a lot of people are upset about all the WWE releases that have been happening. But, that is going to give some of these other television promotions a chance to land some really good prospects. And with that, they could develop, much healthier fan bases. However, that could work to be a detrimental towards independent wrestling. You never know. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of things kind of, that I'm looking at, 6 months down the road. I'm trying to kind of see how things are gonna play out, which I don't know if anybody else is looking at it that way, but I'm kind of looking at it to see, AEW can't sign anybody, so that means, Impact and Ring of Honor and MLW are all going to land some pretty talented people, you would have to think, these guys and girls aren't going to just work independence and be okay with that. I don't think, and also, you have X Factor companies like New Japan and things like that. Especially, they've been trying to expand into America. So I think, the next 6 months are going to be really interesting for, independent wrestling to see how things are going to trend and see how, indie companies are going to have to adjust and evolve, if you will.
Yeah, it's going to be, to me, the interesting thing is going to be that, like, right now you have multiple companies that are kind of working together, right? Like Impact is working with AEW plus New Japan, and even NWA is one that you didn't mention, and they've got a very kind of niche thing that they do there with the studio shows. But all of these companies have been working together, and now that there's so much talent that has even been released that's out there, like polished talent, people who have been on television, you wonder if these companies are going to start, for lack of a better term, start to get a little bit greedy and try to grow their own audience. Like, they're all kind of helping each other grow right now. But do we see a level in the next 6 months where now it's like, all right, this has been cool working together, but hey, we're secretly gonna sign Wyndham Rotunda and see where this goes. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you said, it's going to be interesting. I think we'll find out.
Wyndham Rotunda, a big fan of the Irish egg rolls at the Hooley House in Brooklyn.
Shout out to the Hooley House and the Irish egg rolls. Yeah.
Shout out to the Irish egg rolls. Shout out to Wyndham.
Before things get really crazy, I feel like I'm going to have to take a vacation. I think there's just so much that's going to happen for us in wrestling, and for me with all my things. You know where I'm going to go, John Thorne?
Where are you going?
I'm going to take a break and go to Nashville, I think.
I've been thinking about going to Nashville, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah.
Because, I've been seeing a lot of advertising on my social feeds for Nashville. And why don't you just go ahead and shout them out? Come on.
Yeah.
We're probably both on the same page.
We are. We're going to go to Nashville. I'm going to take a ride with the Iceman Broadway Ricky Bricks on his cart and his bicycle cart, man. The Brickster, Iceman Broadway Ricky Bricks in Nashville. There's no better way to get around the city and see the sights and all the popular bars. That's the way to go. You can relax and just have a great time. It's got that boombox going. It's going to be incredible.
I went to Nashville one time. I hung out with former TNA superstar Chase Stevens. And Ruby Riott was there. There's a bunch of weird, random people there when I was in Nashville. And, man, Nashville's a wild time. I'll say that much. But Iceman Ricky Bricks, he's got the new business going. He's in... I guess we should probably touch on it. Like, he had some medical things and a lot of different personal things happened to him, throughout COVID. And, it's kind of a shame. I don't know if he'll ever even wrestle again. It somewhat sounds like, and he just kind of got into the mix, at the wrong time. He got in the mix right at when COVID hit, and he was able to do those two shows that we did in Indiana, and then kind of a bunch of stuff happened in his life, and who knows what the future holds for the Iceman Ricky Bricks, but always a good guy to talk to. Shout out his new business, Broadway Brick. If you see him, help him out. He's struggling just like everybody else right now, in more ways than one.
Do we tell people? Do we pull back the curtain and tell people one of the original ideas for Go for Broke?
No, I don't want to do
it. Okay. All right, we'll leave it.
Go for Broke was I'll say this: Go for Broke was pretty much designed to be a vehicle for Mr. Brickster, and we'll leave it at that. You know, the whole thing was really written for Mr. Brickster. There was a lot of things that were specifically written for him that had to be adjusted, and you know, we had to audible, you know, as you know, things changed with his, you know, situation. You know, health wise and everything else, but I don't want to give it away. You know what I mean? Because there's so much still that we didn't use for the Brickster stuff that we could use, you know, somewhere down the line or circle back to. But I'll say that a lot of Go for Broke was really developed as a vehicle to make Mr. Brickster a gigantic part of, you know, the AIW, I guess, what the fabric of the company. Would you say that? Is that a good term?
Yeah, that's a good term. You know, everything's a universe these days, but yeah, the AIW fabric. He get to be woven in to the fabric of AIW, if you will. But you know, from Broadway, we look to Main Street. We have the North Canton Main Street Festival coming up this weekend, John Thorne. And, you know, there are rumors that some big name releases are going to be appearing there. Any truth to the rumors that these people are going to be working a North Canton Street Festival this weekend?
Who started those rumors?
I'm starting them right now.
I don't know. You know, I don't think so. AEW is going to be around. So, you know, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm keeping things light for Saturday, keeping the lineups flexible. You know, there's a lot of moving parts. I will say that, you know, shout out to Pavs in the Summit County, Akron Green area. It's an ice cream shop. They were oddly very instrumental in setting this whole deal up for us. It's just one of those coincidence sort of things that, you know, Dom was saying something about wrestling in which somebody said, hey, you should talk to this guy that owns Pavs, in which he set us up with the North Canton Chamber of Commerce, and, you know, the whole thing kind of fell into place pretty quickly. But I don't think that there's going to be any recent releases appearing at the North Canton Street Festival. But
no truth to the rumor that Bobby Fish will be there then.
No truth to that rumor. He's got a 30-day no compete at least.
I mean, come on, it's going to be the North Canton Street Festival. That's not competition.
There were a lot of, you know, that's the thing that's also kind of weird is when you got fired from WWE before, you could do an independent like later that night. Like there was no non-compete for independents. The first time I remember that happening is like the Tennille Dashwood round of releases. That was like the first time they kind of said no independents. So it's kind of it's kind of weird because, you know, when somebody got fired, you'd be able to like book them instantly. And now it's weird, you know, like NXT, you know, in 205 Live, that's only 30 days. But I mean, that is even that 30 days is like such a cool off period for some of these talents. And the 90 days is just like an eternity for a lot of them, you know, especially at how rapid the releases are coming. It's just like, you know, look, we have Anthony Green booked on September 10th, but like so many more people are now also available for, you know, for that date. It's kind of crazy.
You know, the one that bums me out, and I mean, I only met her the one time, but Mercedes Martinez, she could not have been more awesome and nicer than when we had her. Gosh, what would that have been? September 2019, and she wrestled Britt. It was Britt's last AIW show, and it also turned out to be one of Mercedes' final independent wrestling appearances, which, you know, we didn't know. I don't think anybody really knew at the time. Or I'm sure some people did, but
I mean, there was some
There's some rumblings.
Rumblings, yeah.
Yeah. And just I guess if you want to make a comparison, again, we talk about names, getting the opportunities that have been out there for such a long period of time and put in the work. You look at like an Eddie Kingston, a Nick Gage, you look at Mercedes Martinez, and she's someone who's just like through the years, like, man, when does she get signed? How are companies missing on her? And
there's a lot of places where she can land. I mean, I did speak to her a little bit today. She is coming back from a concussion, and there's other things going on. But she is the only person I've reached out to so far to find out, if she's taking dates and, what's what. There's been nothing. There's really no business really discussed as of yet, though. It was just kind of like, hey, I'll let you know, sort of thing. But I did speak to her today. Yeah, it's crazy, but a lot of people don't really understand that what WWE was doing was they were hoarding talent on purpose, and I think they've just decided that they're going to change directions and they're not going to hoard that talent anymore. But that does open up, like I said, a lot of doors for a lot of people to go in a lot of different directions. Like, obviously, everyone wants to land in AEW, but I don't think that's possible for every single free agent, obviously. Right. However, there's a lot of money being thrown around by other companies too, and it's going to be interesting, I would say, in the next 6 months to see what happens. It's going to be interesting to see if AEW people remain eligible to do independence. It's going to be interesting to see, if these other TV companies, they sign people and, they book them out or they don't want them doing independence. Like there's a lot of things in flux, as far as talent goes with the independents. And, I was talking to Pedro today actually, and I was just like, man, like without the school, AIW would be so dead right now. Like we would be destroyed. Like I reached out to some people for, just some like, hey, like maybe I'll bring you back in, not signed people or anything. And the fees have gotten so crazy. Man, like we would be in so much trouble if, we didn't have the school and the development system going on, and I know I said it a couple weeks ago, like, I don't know if we could sell 300 tickets right now. I still don't know if we could sell 300 tickets right now. It's there's a lot going on, you know what I mean? There's a lot of things are in flux, and maybe it is the fact that we did play it safe and we did kill our own momentum. That is a theory, by abiding by the COVID restrictions and playing it safe. It kind of was detrimental to the momentum that we had built up throughout 2017, 18, 19 and going into 2020. There was a lot. It was like a nonstop train that stopped. So there's there's a lot of things going on, that I'm trying to analyze and figure out what to do. But man, I just look at some of the economics of independent wrestling and how they've changed. And listen, it's no. I'm not saying that the wrestlers don't deserve these high fees or anything like that. I'm just saying it has changed dramatically, in the last couple of years. And I'm thankful that we did pivot into, trying to develop people from scratch, because Cleveland is, just like the sports teams, we've said it before, it is a small market. Small market means smaller attendance, means smaller, money being spent. That applies to independent wrestling too, as ridiculous as it sounds. So, we have to do things a little bit differently here, as opposed to, if we were touring or, doing shows in major cities, it could be different, but that also comes with flights and hotels and all these other kind of crazy expenses too. So I don't know, there's a lot going on.
We're not doing, $60 general admission tickets in Cleveland. Like that's not going to happen.
No, and I mean, ticket prices are, somewhat high right now because we're trying to still continue doing limited tickets. I said it, when, I don't know, a couple podcasts ago, when, maybe a couple months ago at this point, when, we were kind of developing the comeback plan. Like, I know that, when I want to go to a much higher capacity, we are going to have to lower the ticket prices down to, to fill those seats. My plan is for Hell on Earth to, do a bigger venue out that's not the Odeon, and probably drop those general admission, not only offer general admission seats, but drop them down from what they have been, these last couple shows. And it's all kind of part of a plan to to taper everything up. But also we don't know what's going on. There's the Delta variant. There's all this other stuff happening. Yeah. There's mandates coming back. So I will say, I was thanked. I don't know if I said this last week, but I was actually thanked for how we have approached the comeback shows. And, they even said, I understand that this has been detrimental to your business and, you're probably never going to get credit for it. But I just want to say thank you. And, that meant, a lot, but then it is hard to look and, you see companies that are just making money hand over fist too, so it's like, it's such like a mental struggle. So, I do plan though on, sticking to the plan and continuing to kind of taper up. And, if August 27th sells out of the seats, we would maybe release a couple general admission seats, 50 or something like that, if the demand's there, but which is close. There's less than 20 tickets available for the August 27th show right now. But if we don't sell those, there's no point in releasing general admission tickets. That's kind of the way I look at it. You know what I mean? Like, it's, I don't want to pack the venue with standing room only people, and then have, 20 empty seats. I'd rather fill the seats. Right. And then, if we can make room for, people that kind of waited it out, and then we will. And Russell Rager is close to, being the capacity. I set that for 200. The bar thinks that we can maybe open it up for more, another 100 or 200, they think, based on how much bigger the space is than the class parking lot is. But, it's kind of like again, I'm not going to say, okay, we're going to open it up for 400 people, but, only 200 people want to come. You know what I mean? I'm going in like slow kind of increments, just to see,
Yeah, and look, August 27th, as of right now, man, it's shaping up to be something. You got Danhausen coming back home, and I say coming back home because we've talked about it, we've touched about it multiple times. AIW is one of the places where this Danhausen character really came to life, and so it's gonna be fun to have him back in the fold again, and being home. As I said, to me it feels like this has just always been one of those places for him. And Terry Runnels is gonna be here, a meet and greet. I mean, hey man, I've never met Terry Runnels in real life, but
neither have I.
Sure as hell, looking forward to that.
She's always kind of been on the list. Pedro and I always discussed, like, we always figured that she would be a good person to put on one of the Akron events. And, it just was just one of those random days where it's just like, I'm going to find out, you know what I mean? And I'm going to find out what what it is. And then it was just kind of like, well, let's just do it. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, we've sat around for so long not doing things, and we're trying to space stuff out. And it's just like, let's just throw a meet and greet on, 8/27 and, see what happens, and see if that is a good mix to kind of put in with the limited capacity. You know what I mean? Like, it's really just about experimenting right now and trying different things. just announced Filthy Tom Lawler will be coming back on the 27th.
Yep.
As of now, he's got somewhere else to be on 8/28, but he will be there on the 27th. So don't miss that opportunity, because these people that require flights, and it's just everything has gotten so expensive. You know what I mean? The airline tickets are just astronomical right now. It's insane. But I was able to work something out and get him on the show, and do a little split ski with somebody else. So Filthy Tom will be back on 8/27. I got a couple other things returning. I realized that there was maybe some and I know I was hard on the students and everything like that, and the locals, if you will, for the bad numbers. And I realize, people want to see different talent coming through. That's what, as much as AIW develops new people, we do also have a reputation to uphold as far as, bringing in marquee talent, from outside the area.
Yeah.
So I am, working on that a little bit more for the August weekend, starting with, Filthy Tom, bringing Danhausen back, and obviously the Terry Runnels meet and greet.
Well, and, as we talked about how things are going to be very different over the next 6 months with the independents, those two names we mentioned right there, Filthy Tom and Danhausen, look, folks, it's not crazy to say that we have no idea how long you'll be able to see them at AIW when you really think about it.
Right, because you don't know what the terms or whatever is going to happen, based on the respective companies that they, have agreements with right now, or how long those deals are, or if they could be going elsewhere. There's a lot of, things in flux. So, we're trying to, I'm trying to ease back into things. I am super hesitant because I am scared about, kind of blowing the bank, and, then we're back to, restrictions and everything else. And, we have all this kind of money on the books like we do for, Gauntlet for the Gold, which, I thank everybody that is, waiting it out until, next year and hasn't requested the refund yet, and has faith in that. It's just, we wanted, there was initially a plan where we were going to come back and just go boom, 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 every marquee show, right away, like Double Shot Weekend, Gauntlet, Rap Show, then, Jaylit, then, Wrestle Rager Absolution, all Double Shot weekends. There was a plan, and I just thought that was too much, too soon. And, we kind of regrouped and came up with this, slow launch plan. But yeah, there's just, I don't know. It drives me nuts. I will say,
if somehow we ever get a ring to float or have a show on a barge, no pun intended, but come hell or high water, I think that Filthy Tom Lawler, no matter where he is, would find his way back to AIW for one of those shows. That's a Tom Lawler thing that he wants to be a part of.
I don't even know how he just got on this tangent, but yeah, there's Saturday. Let's get back to Saturday.
Yeah, well, here's a couple questions that we have for Saturday coming up. One, we've already talked about. People have asked us before, you've talked about it. This is basically like a city event. They are bringing us in. It's kind of a bit more of a professional family environment. We do not have a meet and greet scheduled.
Well, this is what I'll say. Okay. Let's keep the, the chants and the fucks and the regular AIW experience. Let's keep that to a minimum, if at all.
No twist his dick chants.
Yeah, none of that fuck them up or, any of that stuff. This is a community event. We are being brought in by the city government. You know what I mean? Like the Chamber of Commerce is bringing us in, and, we're working hand in hand with the city. So, let's kind of clean it up. We will have merchandise for sale. We are going to try to work it to where on our off hours, wrestlers will be selling merch and, taking photos and signing autographs and things like that. I would anticipate probably 4 matches each block, and they will all be different shows. So we have a block at 12, 2, 4, and 6. They will all be different shows. Some talent will be on, multiple time slots. Some won't. I can confirm that we have Zoe Sky returning to AIW on Saturday. She will only be on the 12 p.m. slot. There are different things like that going on to where, some people are going to be on, multiple slots. Some people are, only on one slot. Everything's kind of a different deal, so to speak.
And these are all 1 hour blocks, correct, John?
Yeah, everything is going to be it's going to be 4 1-hour shows. So I would anticipate 4 matches, 3 to 4 matches, for every one of them. So they will all be different matchups. They will all, be unique shows. No IWTV coming, no Smart Mark video coming. So, there's a possibility we're going to try to tape it like Go for Broke style and maybe put it up on Patreon or something like that. But I wouldn't expect these shows to be on IWTV. I wouldn't expect them to be DVD releases. They're going to be kind of, their own things. I don't want to say it's like a house show. It's something kind of totally different than that. It's just really like 4 1-hour slots. So we're going to try to utilize the time best as possible. It's completely free. So, why not? If you got nothing going on Saturday, come on down.
Yeah. Hit up some food trucks, get some ice cream.
They're going to have
AIW.
Yeah, they're going to have all sorts of other things going on, food stands. I believe we're set up right next to the beer stand. They are going to have bands and multiple, live music performances. It's a festival. This is like their big thing they put on in, North Canton.
Yeah, for us, this is an opportunity to it's a fundraiser opportunity. We get some money so that we can stay afloat. And B, it's an opportunity for us to get in front of some new eyes. And in an area that we've kind of ventured into with the Tadmor Shrine, but North Canton is even further south, and there are certainly going to be people there who have never even seen us in Akron. So it's just...
It's more like... Yeah, it's...
That's what
I look at it like a community outreach sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like an infomercial. You're going to get 4 1-hour AIW infomercials. Obviously not the full AIW experience. It's going to be, family friendly, clean. You're not going to be seeing doors getting busted or anything like that. But just a nice kind of, clean sort of presentation. So we can, hopefully, draw in new fans and, try to, make the most of it. So we're going to do, like I said, 4 1-hour shows, starting at 12 p.m. And, I think it could be a good opportunity. From what I understand, they're bringing in bleachers. There's going to be seating, so they'll be able to accommodate as many of you crazy AIW fans that want to come down and hang out with us for the day.
And then as we look forward after that, we talked about 827 a little bit. Let's go back. Let's touch on Wrestle Rager just a little here. I know it's a lot, but we'll get to 827 and 828 more in the coming weeks. But, in the past, we've always had a big name for Wrestle Rager. And I know that this is something that we tried to pull off, but this being a very different year, we don't really have that ECW legend anchor this year, correct?
No, there's no ECW legend coming this year, unfortunately. There was some irons in the fire, but, this thing kind of got squared away a little later in the game than, we wanted, and it was almost kind of so late to where I considered not doing it. I'd met, with this place months ago, and, there was a lot of red tape for them to cut through. They had to, go to the city and get clearance, and they had to get adjustments to their liquor license because it is kind of in a field behind the bar, so it's not technically where they serve. So they had to go through and do all these things, and they wanted to make sure everything was legit. So we kind of got started a little late. I did reach out to a few people that it just couldn't happen, but I was also thinking about it, and I think at this point Russell Rager is a draw on its own with or without an ECW legend. I mean, well, there will be one ECW legend there. His name will be Bill Fonzie Alfonso, returning to AIW for the first time since the April weekend, if you want to consider that. But, I figured, let's keep it kind of, let's just focus on Russell Rager and not kind of continue to lean on that ECW legend crutch. I think it adds to the event, but I don't think anyone cares either way. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I don't know, but I just think that it's something that I want to see if we can do it, as is, the Russell Rager branding or whatever you want to call it. I want to see if that can be a success on its own without having to rely on, a legend.
Yeah, so for everybody that is like, oh man, I got to play cool and I got to behave this coming weekend at the Main Street Festival in North Canton, 2 weeks later at Wrestle Rager, that's your moment, right? All this, if you are someone who has waited to go to a wrestling show and you're an AIW fan and you really have not done much socializing and you're just waiting for that moment to let all the demons out, Wrestle Rager's it, right? I mean, it's the party.
Yeah, and, they are... First stop is pulling out all the stops. From what I understand, they're bringing in, one of those beer trucks that you see at, a carnival that's just full of beer.
Oh, wow.
Because we explained that, in the past class...
We've ran out of beer.
They would sell out of every beer that they had. So they're preparing a little bit. They plan on having a full staff, and we'll see how it goes. But it sounds like they're taking it pretty seriously, and tickets are approaching that 200 capacity right now. I think there's 15 tickets left, I want to say, off the top of my head when I looked this morning. So. When you get that email that says when those emails went out to the email list, it said the August events are almost sold out. The August events are legitimately almost sold out. Now, there's a possibility with how big the area is that we will open up more space, but that's a conversation that I have to have with the venue and kind of go from there. They think that we could probably open it up for another 100, but like I said, I'm not getting too over ambitious about any of these lineups right now.
So this week, folks, North Canton Main Street Festival. There are no tickets needed. That's right, Mr. Whiskers. No tickets needed. It's going to be free. There'll be food and drinks, and I think that they probably have music. I mean, it's a festival, folks. We are an attraction. We are one of many. There's gonna be all sorts of fun stuff going on, and just come to it. It'll be a good time. If you don't have anything going on, we said last week or a couple weeks ago, if you've got a family and you've often been like, I don't know if I can bring the kids to AIW. Hey, this is your opportunity. Spend the day in North Canton, do some fun stuff, watch a little bit of wrestling. I'm sure it'll be, probably sillier than usual. Bring your kids to hate on the Duke, because kids hate the Duke. That's something that we learned at a birthday party years ago. And, just come out and have a great time. And then get ready for a double shot weekend, August 27th and 28th, with A Touch of Evil and Wrestle Rager 5.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things on the docket. So, we're just trying to get it in.
Yeah.
We announced last week the return to the Winchester.
Yes, that date is September 23rd.
Yeah, Thursday, September 23rd. We're only doing 100 tickets for that because it's a much smaller space. So 100 tickets, that's it. We're not opening that up to any more than 100. I think, do we have any questions? I know we sent
I've kind of
Discord.
I've kind of been putting them in sporadically without you realizing it. So we covered a lot of them. Folks asking about Wrestle Rager, asking about taping stuff this weekend, and a floating ring was a question. Believe it or not, caught you off guard with that. A Rose, our guy A Rose in the Discord chat wants to know if Mr. Whiskers will ever make an appearance at AIW.
No way. This cat is like anxiety ridden. Like it would go nuts.
She does not like a lot of people.
No, and it gets very anxious when there's people around. And the few times that she has had to be in a car did not like it. Did not like it at all. So don't think Mr. Whiskers will be showing up to an AIW show.
You know, and talking about return personalities, workers, a few people want to know when CPA is coming back to AIW.
I don't know. Maybe never. I don't know. I haven't talked to him.
He's back as CPA. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, New York's far away. You know, a lot of those guys have reached out to me, like VSK would like to come back, and, you know, it's hard right now, you know, because when we would know, like, okay, we got like 300 something tickets sold, and then, you know, we know that there's going to be another 50 to 70 walking up, you know, it's just like you could just kind of spend money a little willy-nilly, you know, and like,
sure,
gas from New York, yeah, no problem, tolls, whatever, you know what I mean? Now I'm being a little bit more cautious with the books, you know, so I don't know. You know, at VSK, I feel bad. He reaches out to me all the time, and I kind of keep giving him the same thing, like, not yet, you know, but it's just, I don't feel comfortable with loading up, you know, the shows with too much out-of-town talent, you know, because the gas or the flights and everything else gets so expensive so quick. People don't realize, you know, and like I said, people don't understand the fees and stuff these days either. Like, I'm not, you know, it's just there's a lot more that goes into, you know, an independent wrestling show these days than I think people think. You know, everyone wants to do the old hot dog and a handshake. That shit hasn't fucking existed ever. You know what I mean? Like, not like it's just you know, maybe in, you know, bumfuck North Dakota or something. But, you know, if you're dealing with, you know, top level talents, like that's not an option.
Yeah, we love these guys. It's a matter of we have not been able to come back full go yet, and to your point, that means we're not bringing in the money that we were. Even, you know, and this is we're selling the tickets that we are trying to sell, but it's just to really bring back everybody like we would want. We have to wait until we're able to sell more tickets. So,
and plus, you know, there was a lot of, you know, floating things along during the pandemic. You know, we talked about that very in depth. You know, the school rent and the storage units rent.
Yeah.
And, you know, there was a lot of expenses that were kind of floated for the last year and a half off, you know, the rainy day fund that was built up, and, you know, merch sales throughout the pandemic and different things. And, you know, shout out to people, you know, like Paul Greer, who, you know, helped us out a ton during the pandemic.
Yeah, mysterious benefactors.
The mysterious benefactors too, you know. But there's a lot of stuff that we're kind of, you know, trying to get things back to, you know, even Stevens, so to speak, and get things back to, you know, a healthy balance to where I feel more comfortable, you know, like. People forget, if you go back and you listen to, you know, when Chandler passed away, you know, we were in really bad financial shape, and I'm terrified you know, that's not Chandler's fault. There was a lot of people at fault for how things got out of control, myself included at that time. But being faced with that reality, you know, when I had no way to cover it, was so terrifying for me as, you know, a person, because you could say this is a company, whatever you want. It really is it falls on a person to pay for it all. Like it falls on, there's no corporate structure at AIW LLC. It's really me. So it's like, that is a scary thing to go when, before maybe it was a crutch, Chandler would look at me and I would look at Chandler, and you know what I mean? There was some other direction to kind of look and go, oh yeah, well, there's somebody else here. But now, when it's, if it gets to that point and it's like, we totally fucking bomb, I gotta go to the John Thorne checking account, and that's what I'm trying to avoid. It's maybe you could say it's PTSD from all of that, but it was a lot of money that we had to make up for at the time, and it took years. It took years to be able to kind of get things back to even. And I don't want to see another hole like that. That's like the equivalent of somebody's like yearly salary, because that's really where we were at that time. So my anxiety about money and failure it never turns off. Absolutely never turns off.
I mean, there's merit to those things. I remember those days, and I was privy to the information of what was going on, and it was very scary. I know we had serious talks of like, don't know how long we could keep this going. Yeah. We're gonna have to figure some things out here, and those were very real conversations that we had. So that's all real, and it comes down to it's basic economics, like supply demand. You talk about fees going up, and we've talked about already people getting certain kinds of deals, and they can only work X amount of places on some of those deals. So that takes away some names that you would book as draws, which means you have less people to pull from, and so people can their rates go up, which, I mean, good for them, but it also somewhat hurts us. And of course, you'll never fault those people for raising money. It's just, when they're getting that money, like, hey, that's great. That's what you're in this for. I
think, I just think fans don't realize sometimes that it is called the wrestling business, and it is a business. It's a business for talents. It's a business for promotions. And, I don't fault anybody that's a talent that's getting bigger fees now. I praise them for it. It's great. They, certainly, earn it for the most of them. Most of them are very deserving, even though, as a promoter, I would always try to, get the number down. That's just the exchange of talent and promoter, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm sure you deal with it in comedy and all aspects of entertainment.
Oh yeah.
Any sort of sale, you know what I mean? Like, it's just all, it's an exchange of service. So there's a negotiation to be had, and that's just, if someone says, I want this, then, you know what I mean? It's a counter, and, that's, those numbers have gone up quite a bit. And, I don't fault people, for not doing AIW if they're going to get that number somewhere else. You can't fault anybody for that. And that's why, sometimes you just have to, let people kind of move on, and you don't even kind of circle back to them, and it's not, there's no heat or anything like that. It's just kind of the evolution of, each other's business, so to speak, like, it's just, that's the way it goes. And I don't think people understand that, there is, at the end of the day, there's business to be done, whether, it's good business or bad business, there's business to be done nonetheless, and it's just like, I think it's difficult for fans to kind of grasp the economics, and, they love when somebody gets popular, but I don't think they understand that when they get popular, that they become more expensive, and sometimes, they can't come in every show anymore. You know what I mean? Like, some people that may have been there all the time are now all of a sudden maybe I could come into, once, twice a year now, sort of thing.
And again, this goes back to, unfortunately, we were hitting our stride and things were great. And if you would have talked to us at the beginning of 2020, we wouldn't be having a conversation like this. But COVID happened, everything gets shut down. We're back to
2020, man. I'm never that confident ever. I was so confident going into 2020. Like, Built to Last was like the mission statement for the company. Like, it was like, we've stood the test of time. We continue to elevate these talents. Like, everything was clicking in all cylinders. Like, Built to Last was like a statement. You know what I mean? Like, that was a statement to the industry. Like, we are built to last. Like, we've been doing this for so much longer than most of you. And we continue to evolve and survive. And then it's just like, poof, gone overnight. Like, less than a month later, it's all gone.
But I love that phrasing, and I think that it's something that we've all still taken to heart, because now we put that out into the world that we are built to last, and we sit here and we have
now we're trying to prove it,
and we're like we're trying to exactly.
Now it's like, now you got to try to prove that, and like times got tough, and times will continue to be tough, and. I know I was kind of a little bitter last week about the bad numbers on IWTV, and it's a frustrating reality to see, like, because I can see all these other things going well, but like the numbers don't lie to you. You know what I mean? You get a real time graph of your like how you're doing on IWTV. Every promoter that listens to this knows that you can log in. You see a report. And you get all this information in a report. And here comes Mr. Whiskers rubbing on the microphone. So it's really hard to deal with that reality. You know what I mean? You can't spin it for yourself. You can't lie to yourself. You can't make an excuse for why you're not getting that good number. It's right there, like it's right there. And, it's a tough reality to deal with sometimes, and I was a little upset last week when I heard how bad the numbers were, because I have an ego just like everybody else has an ego. I don't want to have bad numbers. I don't want to have like awful numbers. And the numbers were atrocious, and it was a really kind of humbling reality that I had to face. And maybe I blame the students a little bit too much, but there is some substance to what I was trying to say. I just don't think that maybe some of the people that listen to the podcast really understood, we could load it up with all this talent that is for sure going to get viewers, and we chose not to do that. And that is why I was upset, because it was it was like, I bet on our crew, and our crew, didn't deliver the way that I think and I know that they can. So, it was more of like a, hey, everybody listen to this and understand that everybody needs to step up. That was more like a message to the people that participated on the show. You know what I mean? Like, hey, let's fucking get it together.
Yeah, it was a teachable moment, and more of a rallying cry than anything. Like, hey,
some
guys.
people took it. Some fans took it the wrong way though, and they were, they thought that I unjustly criticized the talent.
We criticized us too. It's the nature of the beast, and hey, but it's a rallying cry, like we just said a few minutes ago. We put out into the world that AIW is built to last, so we're here to prove it.
You gotta
continue to do so.
And sometimes it is, you do need those failures, to kind of get things together, and like, I mean, AIW has been a collection of failures that have turned into lessons, and how to adapt. And we're adapting. Like I said, 827, you're gonna see more talent at the Odeon. because, I realize that's, people want to see, more talent and different talent. They don't want to see just the Cleveland-based talent. 828 is more than likely not going to live stream. That is a live experience. And you're going to get exactly what you think what you've gotten in the past at a Wrestle Rager. There's just not going to be an ECW legend there besides Fonzie signing autographs. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to get, top to bottom, you're going to get your fans bring the weapons and, your crazy matches. That has been, just because in ECW people have not been booked, that doesn't mean that, we have not made sure, what you bloodthirsty fucking ghouls want to see isn't booked. It's all taken care of. What you want to happen on 828 is going to happen.
And just like in years past, we'll collectively come together and we'll probably make a determination on what kind of challenge we lay out to you fans on what kind of alcohol we decide to try and get the bar to sell out of. Right? That's fair.
Yeah, I'm going to have to talk to him and see. I know that...
Are they bringing in Mad Dog? Let's just start with that.
That, I don't know. That is a question for Parker Pierce. I can ask him.
That's that's probably a conversation that needs to be had between he and ownership there to figure out. It's Mad Dog is crucial to the Wrestle Rager experience at this point, I think.
It could be that could be a little misleading, though. That could lead to people not remembering the Wrestle Rager experience as well.
That's all part of the Wrestle Rager experience, though. Hey, as we wind this thing down, circle back to the shout outs. We've got a busy few weeks ahead of us. This week should just be a fun, easy one, and 827 should be a great time. Hopefully we don't see too many injuries, but shout out ahead of time to Patty and Jeremy again, keeping everybody healthy and taken care of after shows. But I know their work will be cut out for them at Wrestle Rager on the 28th. And I anticipate that they will be there as they always are. And I mean, at this point, you talked about the fabric of AIW previously. They are very much part of the fabric of AIW. Shout out to them.
Shout out to Jeremy and Patty. Shout them out.
And final shout out maybe goes to our little buddy Dylan, who is trying to get things taken care of, trying to get that back taken care of, and we hope everything goes smooth, and that we can hear from him real soon.
Yeah. Maybe he'll be at Wrestle Rager if he's feeling better. We'll see.
Not competing, but...
maybe. Depends on how good he's feeling.
Well, if he treats this Wrestle Rager like he does the others, he's usually feeling pretty good.
And we'll end it with this. I just got Steve Guy a job with this insane clown posse at the Gathering of the Juggalos. I'm not going alone. Steve Guy will be there for a few of the days now. More details on this after the fact. I don't even know what I'm allowed to say. But weirdest job of my life, I'll say that. Please, if you can, come on down to the Gathering and hang out. There's going to be plenty of people there Thursday and Friday at the very least. I have to leave Saturday. But yeah, we will.
Oddly enough, in Thornville, Ohio.
Oddly enough, yeah. I'm sure we will have plenty to talk about coming out of that weekend. But whoop whoop.
Can't wait. For AIW owner John Thorne, my name's Steve Guy. We'll talk to you next week right here on AIW's Whoop Whoop. The card is going to change.